You've heard me harp on the importance of rest all day long, so don't get it twisted, all right? I got nothing against zeros. It just so happens that I only took 3. Having said that, there is a thin line. I'm sorry, I have to say it, but there's a thin line between taking a 0 and then just being lazy, all right? And if you have the money, then you'll find that, I'll put it to you this way, luxury breeds laziness. What does that mean? The people that take the most zeros are the ones that can afford it, okay? I'll just put it to you like that. They just got money to burn, so they'll just sit in town drinking beers and just rolling up a tab, and after a while, they forget what they came out here for, you know? I'm a high energy person. I came out here to hike. As far as I'm concerned, I can do pretty good off a Nero. What does that mean? I can do pretty good doing 6 miles in one day, taking a nap in a shelter and just chilling, where somebody else may need a 0. But I'll tell you something, and this is true. You really don't get rest on zeros. What do I mean? Last night I went to bed at 11 o'clock and I zeroed. I tried to go to bed at 8. I woke up hungry. I talked a little bit. The point I'm trying to make, and I said this before, I get better rest in the woods than I do in town. So if you think you just gonna just sleep all day on a 0, maybe if you truly are exhausted and that's what you need to do is rest, then you will rest. But more times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, you're just gonna be goofing off. I mean, you know, you're not hiking, you're just sitting around, just you know, it's almost like you're losing your trail legs, you're losing your enthusiasm, you're losing your spirit for being out here. So, to recap, it just so happens I took 3 zeros thus far. Do I plan on taking any more? I don't. But you know what I'm saying? I didn't plan on taking that one, but if I'm not stupid. If the opportunity presents itself, then who knows? You know, I'm going to always be prudent, all right? Because rest is important, and you got to know when I made that decision, that was a hard day. It was a good hike, but it was a hard day. So I'm not trying to put zeros in the bad light, and I'm not bragging about taking 3 zeros. If you need 10, take 10. This isn't easy. This isn't easy at all. Get the rest where you can find it, but understand, zeros can be a double-edged sword, especially if you're in a group. It's going to cost you money, and it's going to play on your spirit. It's going to play on your power, your morale to get out here and stay out here. Having said that, out here. Here you have it. I'm in Maine. So now we're going to go to Mount Katahdin. Now it's more than just hiking from Georgia to Maine. We knocked that out. Now we got to go from the Maine state line to Katahdin to call it a true through hike and be done with this matter and the mission as well. Out here.
And she's buying the stairway to heaven.
You went from rock to tundra. I feel like I'm back in Alaska. Mount Denali, that whole state park to be specific. They got mosquitoes that big. It's pretty steep. I want to show you the footprint that hikers leave. You can't really call that erosion. Just trying to stay on your feet. It's 6:18 and I just took the turn off towards the shelter, so I'm following blue blazes. Frankly, I would keep hiking. I feel good. Lord knows I had enough to eat. I'm not even hungry. But it's gonna rain tonight, or at least so I'm told. I'm thankful that it hasn't rained on me while I was hiking. So I'm going to take advantage of this shelter, even though it's 0.3 miles off the trail, and just be satisfied with a 17-mile day. I got no problem with that. What I don't want to do is pitch a tent, then the down pours on me that I'm carrying a wet tent, and so forth and so on. Not to say that I may not end up pitching up a tent here if the shelter's full, but to be honest with you, I haven't seen no mosquitoes as of yet. So I'm gonna play it by ear. But for right now, I'm home. I'm at this shelter right now. I'll show it to you when I get there, out here. I'll be honest, I'm not looking forward to what this shelter is gonna look like. Maine has always had a kind of forgotten, rustic, Grizzly Adams kind of look, you know what I mean? Not as bad as North Carolina where it's all rotted out 1954, but boy are they close. We'll just have to see what happens. I got my fingers crossed. If you count the trek to the shelter, today was an 18-mile day. I'm gonna give myself credit for that because I'm still walking out here. This looks nice. Looks inviting. All right, 1976. Tent platform, toilet. How you doing?
What's going on?
It's going.
Hi there. How you
How
doing?
you doing? Yeah, this is cool. I could live here. Good morning. It rained last night, but it's blue skies right now, and that's what's important. There's a southbounder in the shelter. There was. And unfortunately, he said that this is the only shelter that looks like it does. Everything else is a lean-to. He made it sound like 3 walls, just dilapidated pieces of crap as far as the shelters go. And that's what I remember in Maine anyway. So I guess it's no surprise. But anyway, that's what you got to look forward to as we go forward. Mahoosuc Notch is coming up. That's a fun little thing. Just think of giants. I'm talking like beings that are like 100 feet tall, big as mountains. Just going and just picking up boulders the size of their hands and just throwing them, you know, like throwing dice, just throwing them out, you know, across a field of say a mile long. That's what Mahoosuc Notch is. You're just maneuvering through literally boulders. He said that there was ice still inside some of the boulders and it was freezing inside the caverns as you go through. You remember Lemon Squeeze, right? Where I went through this like rock tunnel. That's what Mahoosuc Notch is. You're just navigating through this tunnel of rock. Anyway, that's coming up. I'm looking forward to that. But at the end of the day, 20 miles from here, there's a shelter, and that's my goal out here. As you can see, everything is wet and slippery. This is what I got to look forward to on those mountains. Slippery rocks. When I find myself on a mountaintop, and when I say so far north, I'm talking at the finish line, I have to say to myself, wait a minute, did I just walk from Georgia through terrain like this all the way to Maine with weight on my back? I mean, that is amazing. I'm sorry. I mean, when you're up here, you know that you got here by the strength of your own will, conviction, mental power, and God, or however you want to call it, you got to know that there ain't nothing you can't accomplish. You have to know that. There's no other way. I mean, this is beautiful, dude. I'm not going to start crying over rainbows, but this is beautiful. I'm sorry. Out here. That's right. That's rhubarb. This is the real deal. Come get some. Consider this. There was a time when these bars weren't even here. Right now I'm just sitting on the sheer side of a nice little fall there. As you go forward, as you can see, there is no rebarb. You're on your own. You gotta love it. Here we come to the old school solution, where they just make these big old ladders going up the mountain. At the top. What I'm gonna do now is traverse this whole ridge line here up to that mountain over there. And then I'm going to go down that mountain and across the range there for about 4 miles up and over to Mahoosuc Notch. It seems as though rain is imminent. I can feel the pressure change. I can smell the seawater. Yep. What's the name of this shelter?
That's a good question.
Okay, I see it. Checkpoint Alpha. Full
I
blue
didn't
shelter.
stay here. I'm just breaking up here
Out
in
here.
case.
It just now started to rain. Believe it or not, it's 10 o'clock. Checkpoint Alpha, that first shelter, is 4.4 miles. That's all from the last shelter. So what am I saying? I'm saying it took me 4 hours to cover 4 miles. Between the slippery terrain going down and the degree of difficulty climbing the mountains, I'm not getting nowhere fast. So yeah, that 20-mile day-to-day is not going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and hike all night. I'm going to go through Mahoosuc Notch. That's coming up here shortly. And that next shelter is 5 miles away. So we'll take another look at it at the next shelter. This rain could come down harder still, so I'm not certain. We'll see what happens out here. I decided to double back because the rain started to come down harder, and I was listening to thunder the whole time, so I knew it was coming. So all I did was I'm just gonna step back and just wait. I'm in no hurry. It's 10 o'clock out here. Okay, we got a frag order. I'm hooking up with these two hikers here. My man right here, Good People, has a car 10 miles from here. You got that cameo, didn't you? I got the face shot. He has a car 10 miles from here. We're gonna hike out, go to Gooch, something Notch, whatever. Grafton Notch, get a ride out, spend a night in some kind of like bed and breakfast place, wherever. And then get taken back out and just pick up where we left off. It works out perfectly because the day's been slow running with all the rain and everything. You already caught me when I pulled off. Right now it's 12:19 and we're gonna do 10 straight out. We get to see Mahoosuc Notch. I wanted to get off so I could show you Mahoosuc Notch without trying to protect the camera from rain. So we got a little something to look forward to out here. Looks like the sun decided to come out and join us. This is the corridor that leads you into the Notch. And it's just boulders piled upon boulders piled upon boulders. All right. The trick is to stay on top of the notch instead of going down. But at some point, you're going to have to go under. And that's where the ice and everything else is, underneath. Yeah. I mean, I'm tall, so I can use the full form and just, like, you know, cling from rock to rock like a spider. But at some point, it's like a mountain collapsed, and this is where all the boulders came to rest. That's ice right there. That's how cold it is. It's like a refrigerator down here. I pulled my shoulder out of socket in 2005 coming through here because I was trying to hang on the rock. I was holding onto a rock and I lost my footing, and it was just me and all that weight, and one hand slipped and it just popped the shoulder out. Needless to say, you won't need your walking sticks. You may as well put those up. This little fog you see coming up is frost. It's cold down here. Got to go down into there. See that? Right in the tunnel. It's going to be cold in there. That took about an hour and a half to cover maybe 1.3 miles out here. It was fun though, I guess I should mention that, out here. You know, back down south when you're hiking and you touch a tree to get your balance, your palm will come back green because you squashed about 5 caterpillars crawling up the tree. Here in Maine, when you lean up against a rock to get your balance, you squash about 5 slugs. Feels just as gross.
A different one.
Oh.
All right, check this
Doesn't really
out.
show as much.
It is
It's really
4:30.
weird.
We haven't even gone 9 miles. Okay, that's how hard this day is. We're on a mountaintop and we're still a mile away from the shelter.
This is
Mahoosuc Notch was no joke. It just took a long time to get through, and even right after that, we got this climb from just like Hades. You know.
arm.
Yeah, we're on a Mahoosuc arm right now. So basically, we threw a frag order in there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna chill at this shelter that's just like a mile away, and just call it a night, regroup, and then in the morning, you know, hatch another plan and go from there. But yeah, man, today's been, it's amazing. It's like, what, 10 hours, almost 10 hours, and we haven't even gone 9 miles. You got to respect Maine, dude. This is hard out here. By the way, those 2 hikers started in New Hampshire. No, as you were. They started at West Virginia, Harper's Ferry. And they're flip-flopping. They're going to Maine, and then they're shooting back the other way. I haven't seen any hikers that started in Georgia going north. I haven't seen any. I've seen a lot of southbounders that started in Maine and coming back this way. Whatever plan we initially made at that shelter, as you can see, it's already fell apart. More than likely, tomorrow, we're going to end up doing our own things anyway, because as you know, I got a package waiting for me in Andover. I'm staying at this shelter. This shelter is going to put me 15 miles from the Andover Junction where I can go in. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do 15 tomorrow, right? Hopefully, because dude, this is hard. Anyway, but to be honest with you, when it started raining, initially I did pull over, if you recall, and stayed in the shelter and waited for the rain to clear. So I guess maybe it's not so bad. We did take a break, and that's why it took so long. But I'm thinking I can eke out 15 miles if I'm going to town, and I know I got a package there. So more than likely that'll be the plan for me tomorrow. 15 miles to the road, hitch in Andover, stay at the cabin where Grasshopper got my package, regroup, and take on the next day. And they supposedly have internet, so I'm sure I can post a video and that kind of stuff there. So that's an update for now out here. And by the way, it bears mentioning that wasn't a bad looking shelter. The one that I was waiting over as far as the rain goes, full goose or whatever. So I'm thinking maybe that guy misspoke when he said the shelters were bad. I'm kind of looking forward to see what this one looks like. If it's half as bad as the last two I found, then it's not going to be bad at all out here.
Is it
So this is
that? Is it?
This is Specs Pond campsite and shelter. They want $8. Caretaker's coming down to get his due. I think he was watching this with a telescope. When hikers come, he's coming down with his hand out. But for all they do, I have no problem paying that money. Privy's right there. The water's uphill?